What is up, guys? It is Baseball Nerd back with another MLB The Show video. Today we're going over Coach and Tatis Jr.'s video talking about one of the best offline modes, March to October. Before I get in and explain what this is and the new features, I want to thank you guys for getting me to 100 subscribers. I really appreciate that. For anyone that's subscribed, anyone that's not, this is a perfect time for you to like and subscribe and come back for more videos. I'll be covering everything MLB The Show and MLB related. And I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys for helping me reach my first goal. On to the next one. Just had to say that. So March to October. March to October is a single season kind of franchise mode. It's a condensed franchise mode into 1 year. Your goal is to make it to the postseason to October, March to October, and go for the ring, go for the championship. So it's just a condensed version of the franchise mode for people who don't want to play as long. You can pick your team, pick your difficulty, and see, how well you can do if you can get a ring. And if you can, the further along in the season you get, making the playoffs, making, DS, CS, World Series, winning it, all that stuff, the further you go, the more rewards you get. And basically the way it plays is it simulates more games in between. Whereas in franchise mode, you can kind of play every pitch of every game, every at-bat, everything. But in March to October, it's more condensed. They simulate a couple games and then they throw you into a moment most of the time. So maybe you'll come in the 8th and you have to, come back from a 1-run deficit. Or they'll come into the 9th and you have a 1-run lead with no outs and you have to get 3 outs to finish out the game. Something like that. Or now they also have player locks, which is like maybe if you take the Angels, you lock for Mike Trout for a game. And if you have a really good game, depending on how well you have, he'll get hot and he'll stay hot for a while. To where if you have a bad game, maybe he gets in a little bit of a slump for a while. If you have an in-between game, he gets a little hot but not that hot. And that's where the fire emojis come in. These little fire emojis, it's what I call them. I don't know what they're supposed to be called. But they basically show a visual form of your momentum, your team's momentum, if they're heating up or cooling down. And so when you do a moment, you do it well, you get a certain number of fire emojis. The more you get, the hotter your team gets. The hotter you get, the less moments you have to play. They simulate more games in between. You just get to do the fun ones. You get to just keep rolling. And when you get colder, they try to give you more opportunities to get hot again. So therefore, you have to play more missions and moments. I remember in the beginning of this last video game, MLB The Show 20, I was doing this for team affinities, which we will get into another video on team affinities. Basically, they're just little sections that you can knock out, and when you knock them out for a specific team, you get rewards, and then the main reward every level is a card for that team. Like the Angels this year, it was a Brandon Marsh future star, and Tim Salmon face of the franchise, and Ohtani face of the franchise was the first card, and stuff like that. David Fletcher finest. So all those cards you can get for doing those team affinities. So it's a good way to rack up those team affinities. So I was doing it then, and a lot of people I feel like did it in the beginning of the season because it's just a fun offline mode that's not too long. You can bang one out probably in like 13 hours, I think. So if you played for a week and a couple hours here and there, you could bang one out in a week very easily. So fun mode there, and at the end of the mode, if you win or you don't win, you can take that team and turn it to a franchise, and you can play every game and play multiple years, as this is only a 1-year thing. But as we're going to see in the clips, it looks like when you go to set your roster and your lineup and your depth chart, which kind of looks like they add that as well, they have multiple years up at the top, which maybe means this is going to be a multi-year thing, but I'm not sure. I'll show you part of the clip, and then we'll get to talk about more of it.
March to October has massive improvements to Player Logic system, constant intensity throughout the MTO postseason, and even more user control over your roster. Enjoy increased user control through new Fast Track episodes, allowing top prospects to help your team with their March to October.
So as you can see, going right back to that lineup, that depth chart, it looks like they added that in, which is very cool. If you could set, the next guy up at short, the next guy up here, your lineup, all that stuff, even for multiple years, maybe like a game plan of who you want as like your cornerstones for the next multiple years and which guys can kind of be interchangeable or moved on from. That'd be very cool. If not, one of the things I really love is it looks like they touched up the trade little indicator screen, and they added in like a prospect call up, and it looks like after you call up a certain prospect, you see their little thing pop up, their stats, all that cool stuff, and then you also get to player lock as them for a game, their first game, their game getting called up to the show, and that is very cool because if you get them started hot, they could have a really good, rookie of the year type season, which is awesome to think about. thinking about that for maybe doing a Wander Franco playing for the Rays, or a Joe Adell for the Angels, or a Royce Lewis for the Twins. Any of those guys, there's way more guys than that. I'm just giving some examples. But some of those guys, getting them started and having them do a very, very good, job and go off for their first full season would be really, really awesome to see. So that's a very fun thing that they added in that I'm really hyped about. The depth chart is very cool, and the whole setting lineup more customizable, which is very, very fun. Everybody likes to have more customizable stuff. I just really hope that this whole March to October stuff that they're adding in here, not a really big day for us on MLB The Show news, but it is cool, and I hope they still go even harder at the additions they're going to add into franchise mode. I think those guys, the offline franchise mode grinders, make some really cool content, and they really deserve an uptick in the content that they get over in franchise mode. They haven't gotten a lot of love, and so I hope they get some, and I hope they fix that up, because franchise mode can be very, very fun. Whether you're doing a fantasy draft and starting a team over from scratch, you're adding an expansion team, or you're just taking your team that you're a fan of and trying to make them better, like playing more realistic and trying to fix this team the way that they could in real life. All of that is fun. So really happy to see this, but let's stay tuned for Thursday. I have a feeling we're going to start to see some new legend reveals, or at least hints at some new legends, and that's always what I'm hyped about. I feel like everybody is most hyped about that. At least I am. I think we're going to start to see those, and I'll talk to you guys on Thursday when that is added. Whatever video they come out with then, we will talk right about that with you guys. Don't you worry, and I'll see you guys very soon